I think there's just too many pros for buying an older model car in 2026. It's actually something that I just went through. I just bought a 2009 Honda Fit. I had been looking for that generation of vehicle for probably about a year, so I finally just pulled the trigger. I definitely overpaid for it, but it's kind of one of those things where I was just kind of sick of looking for a vehicle because buying a car is a pain in the ass. It's a huge pain in the ass. And maintaining a car is also a pain in the ass. An older car is obviously going to be cheaper than a newer one. And my previous car that I drove before I bought this Honda Fit was a 1995 Honda Accord, and I drove it for 10 years. I bought it for like $1,700, and then after driving it for 10 years, I sold it for about $1,500. So it held its value. And I think a lot of these older cars are holding their value. Why that is kind of a topic for another video. I'm saying that you should buy a new car because it's just the better buy in 2026. And also, I think it offers you more freedom than what a new car offers nowadays. There's just too much technology. They've gone way overboard on the technology in some of the new cars, and especially pushing it as far as like subscription pay for some things. I think there's even, I forget which company it is, but I think there's one that you have to pay a subscription for a heated seat feature, which, come on, man, that's too far. That's too much. Let me try to defend people that think that an older car is a bad buy. And I get where they're coming from. It's just differences of opinion. But there's people that they don't want to work on cars. They don't care to really know much about cars. They just want it to get them where they're going, and they don't have time to be focusing on anything else or trying to keep up with when the coolant change is supposed to be, or when there's supposed to be a transmission fluid change, or when the brakes were last checked. They want to pay the payment and they want to have a mechanic do all that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like I'm making this video to try and act like I'm better than somebody who's spending way more on a vehicle, because what they get for that is peace of mind. You have somebody else that you're paying to do that. They should be making sure your vehicle is safe to drive. And once you buy an older car, you are kind of taking on a lot of that responsibility. And in my opinion, I think it's worth it just because of the way that the cars are being built now. They're being engineered to break down sooner, just the subscription pay, and now also like the data harvesting that they're doing. They're logging how you brake, how often you drive, where you go, and they're using your data. They're selling your data to marketing companies. And so it's just another way for these car companies to monetize you. That's ironic to say when I'm making a YouTube channel. That's what YouTube is doing. YouTube is monetizing me right now. Like, I'm not being paid at this point in time for this video. There's no money coming my way, but you might have been served an ad before this video played. So somebody paid for that ad to be there, and somebody's getting paid for that. So it's like, in a way, we're all being monetized today, but I'm just saying we're getting sick of it. We're getting sick of being monetized, and choosing to get an older vehicle is just another way to avoid being monetized in 2026. And also, when you take it to a mechanic, especially an older mechanic, I think that they love it. They love it when they see an older car that's well taken care of, because they know how to work on it. They don't have to bust out a computer and start going through all the steps. They trained how to become a mechanic, most likely working on an older car, like a 90s or early 2000s year car. Those cars, they have components that most mechanics know how to work on. And if you can stick to the major brands, in my opinion, like Honda, Toyota, I don't know, I'm partial to those because my first car was a Nissan. But it's like, if you can stick to the Asian vehicles, I feel like those are very reliable, and that's really what you want in a vehicle: reliability over everything, in my opinion. If you're gonna buy an older car, I think you should be prepared to drop some money and put some money into it. So that was sort of my strategy in buying my most recent car, the 2009 Honda Fit. Let's get the best one that we can afford with the lowest mileage, and then just be prepared to do any kind of repairs that are necessary. So if it needs brakes, put some brakes on it. If it needs a coolant flush, do that. And in my car, it needed new spark plugs, and I was able to just do that myself. I don't get too crazy with doing the maintenance, but I have a mechanic that I trust locally that I'll take it to for major repairs, and that's sort of a key part of this whole buying an older car is that you need to have somebody that you trust, or if it's you that's willing to learn, then that's, in my opinion, is the best way that's going to save you some money. I don't know. I think it's just good to learn. It's just good to learn about vehicles in general. So I think older cars are the best way to get into doing that. I kind of said this before, but the older cars, I think they just last longer. You can buy all the parts dirt cheap on some of these older Hondas and Toyotas. Like my last car, the 95 Honda Accord, I could just get parts dirt cheap. I'm talking like a power steering pump online, be less than $100. An alternator, less than maybe like $250, $300. That's a little different because it's got copper in it. But in a newer vehicle, those repairs would probably be much more expensive. And then you'd want to do it at the dealer, which is going to charge you more. I mean, you know that it's going to be done right, most likely, but it's a gamble no matter what you do. Cars are a necessary evil in the United States, and trying to drag politics in this, it doesn't have to be this way, but unfortunately it is this way right now. I'm on the side of buying an older car, and also it's the most green thing to do. To be honest, I mean, buying an electric car it takes a lot of energy to make those batteries and to make the vehicle and to deliver it to you to drive it. Saving an older car from the landfill, from being demolished, in my opinion, is a much more green thing to do, especially if it's a fuel efficient car. Like if you can save an old Toyota Corolla from being demolished, or an old Honda Accord, or one of these vehicles that's known to be a car that will last a really long time, then you should try to do that, especially if you don't really care about what people think. That's the thing I think in the United States is everybody's just trying to keep up with the Joneses when it comes to cars. It's such a status symbol here. If you happen to get a good job and you can't afford a car payment, if all your coworkers are getting a nice car or whatever, it's tempting, man. That lifestyle creep can really just creep in on you. I've never really had that problem. I've never really made enough money to even really consider getting a nice vehicle. Definitely pay cash and have some money to repair it. Man, just the freedom you get with having no car payment. I don't know what the average car payment is right now in the United States, but while I'm shooting this, but I'll look it up and I'll put it in this video. I'm just going to guess it's around $400 a month. I have no idea what a car payment is in 2026. Yeah, man, not having to worry about that amount of money every month going to something that I don't fully own yet is such a freeing thing. It's such a strength on the side of buying an older vehicle. So it's 2026 at time of recording this, and me personally, I probably wouldn't get anything newer than 2016, maybe even 2015. It really depends on what model, and you really want to look at the model year and do your research on, I mean, that goes without saying, but I feel like 2015 or 2016, things started getting really out of hand with the technology and the tracking of vehicles and all these services and things that we don't need. We don't need any of this stuff to drive down the road. I feel like the early 2000s was perfect. The cars were just done right in that era, I think. Cars are not an investment. You definitely shouldn't look at a car as an investment. And while you need it to get to work, you will never make your money back. Once you drive it off the lot, that thing is going to go down in value. So it's the worst thing to be spending money on. You should be trying to spend the least amount of money on a vehicle that you can. I mean, that's what a lot of people that are trying to grow their wealth are doing. Cars are really kind of a touchy subject with people. I don't really bring it up with people I don't know that well because for all I know, they do have a car payment. And to be honest, I'm not really a car guy. I'm not somebody that's like really into cars. And if that's you, if you get a lot of enjoyment out of driving a Mercedes or a BMW or some expensive car, then I'm not trying to yuck your yum with this video. I'm not trying to take you down a notch or whatever, or say you should get an older car, you're being dumb with your money. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm just saying this is the way that I've done it, and this is what I'm comfortable with. And this is a great way to save money, and I find it to be more freeing. But if you're somebody that really loves having that, I don't know, what are nice features, cruise control, cruise control's been around for a while, but I don't even know that's how much of a car guy I am. Like, some of these features they have in like the Teslas are really advanced, and I know that people really enjoy that. They get a lot of like value out of that. And I'm just saying that that's not me, and trying to be frugal with your money is the best way to make it through 2026, and not having a car note is something that has saved me a lot when I've found myself in between jobs or going through some medical things or whatever. So it's the financial savings is really the main reason. I mean, it's insurance is cheaper, parts are cheaper. It's usually cheaper at the mechanic. You could make an argument that the newer car is going to be safer. It certainly is most likely safer, but you probably don't have to deal with any recalls on an older vehicle. If you're going to get a newer vehicle, you're going to have a lot more pain in the ass to deal with. If you want something fixed right, you take it to the dealer, and I've heard of dealers kind of, oh, you got to go back. They give you the runaround sometimes. I don't know. I don't have any experience with that, but I've just heard from people that I know. So that's me, man. Team old car over here. Well, okay, I think I've beat this issue to death. Again, I'm not trying to take anybody down a notch. If you've got a car note and you really enjoy your 2025 Toyota Corolla or whatever, I'm not trying to come at you. I'm just Mike talking. Okay, so thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.